Hey, Gordon. How disappointing was it that you didn't get to fight Vinny?
It sucks. Vinny had to do a big weight cut, and they were telling me like, oh, we're going to make Vinny cut weight, like we wanted to have him in shape, and we wanted it to be a good match. And I knew Vinny was big at ADCC. He was like almost like between 270, I think, and 280. And I'm like, my first guy at ADCC was 285 pounds. I'm like, you don't have to make him cut weight. I compete against guys that big all the time. But they wanted him to cut weight, and then I think he posted on his story that he tried to cut like 20 pounds or over 20 pounds, 26 pounds I think it was, someone told me, in the last day, like 26 pounds of water, and then his kidney shut down and he had to go to the hospital. So I was like, oh man, like I kind of knew that was going to happen. He's one of the guys to beat me at black belt, and I'm real excited to compete against him because he's like the last guy who I haven't beaten who's beaten me at black belt. So, hopefully he heals up and we can do, maybe a Fight Pass Invitational or, another event somewhere sometime in the future.
I mean, did you care that he was that heavy? Like, would you have grappled him as heavy as he was, or did you want him to cut weight?
No, I actually was against the weight cut because the UFC is like, oh, we want to have. We want him to come in shape and be able to do the full 20 minutes because Vinny fights at 205 like in MMA, so like a 280-pound Vinny may have not been able to go 20 minutes. So I think they just wanted to get him in shape, and I'm like, man, I don't know, 50 pounds is a lot of weight for Vinny to cut right now. So I was actually against the weight cut, and then I told him, I'm like, if Vinny can't make weight, just have him come in and like whatever weight he's at, and I'll fight him anyway. I don't want any money or any of his purse or anything. Just I'm not making weight. I'm only 223 pounds, I think, for the weigh-in. So I was like, just have him come in and we'll fight. I think, but Vinny was like so adamant about trying to make the weight. I think his ego got in the way, and then he just like almost killed himself, like trying to do the weight cut, and then ended up in the hospital, and then the match fell through. Yeah, I think sometime next year or whenever he's ready, I think we should do that match for sure.
We a lot of times will hear from fighters in the UFC when a last-minute opponent drops out. It really throws off the game, whether it be a striker, and all of a sudden now they get a grappler. How does that affect you here when Vinny had to drop off so close? Does that change anything? Did that throw off anything of your preparation for this event?
Well, for me, I knew that there was a lot higher likelihood of the match going to overtime with Nicky Rod because I knew Nicky Rod was going to stall a lot more than Vinny and be harder to deal with, just in the stalling aspect. And in addition, for the longest time, I don't know why I thought that me and Vinny was like a 20-minute match with like a ref's decision or like a sub or draw. And then like 2 weeks before the match, I realized that it was EBI overtime. I like confirmed with Techi, and I asked him, and he's like, "Oh no, it's EBI overtime." So I was like, "Oh shit, I better start practicing overtime rules." And then we changed it to Nicky, and all the stuff that I was drilling for Vinny, like Nicky Rod doesn't do flying submissions. I wasn't going to wrestle with him. Vinny doesn't do body locks, guard passing. So they're just two completely stylistically different grapplers. But at the same time, I can adapt better than anybody else in the world to any kind of game plan. And Nicky Rod is a person who I've trained with for years, and I know what his game is like. So when they asked him and he accepted, I was like, okay, no problem. Which was weird because I asked him. He was like one of the first guys they asked months ago to compete against me, and he said no. And then they asked him again yesterday, and he said yeah. So I think we know each other's game. He knows my game. I know his game. And he knows that if he actually engages with me, it favors me. So he was kind of negative stally, looking to get to overtime. And, that's fine. I'm comfortable in overtime. I've done many overtime rounds with him and with other people. So it definitely didn't throw me off, but it was definitely a little bump in the road.